Good morning. Hey, I just wanted to jump on here real quick and introduce Laura to you. Laura is my aunt. I have the privilege to know her, and she is one of my earthly angels and one of my heroes. She has 9 children, some of which she has adopted, and some of her children have special needs. And all of her family is incredible. She started a nonprofit organization called Nurturing Nations. I'm going to list the link down below for you to have information about that. She's working on building libraries, schools, and women's shelters and orphanages in Ghana, Africa to help the people there. She has a ginormous heart, and I love her so much. So here's her story that she shared with me, and I hope you enjoy it. Give it a thumbs up and click subscribe, and stay tuned for more Featured Fridays. Have a great day.
About life. Life is hard. Let me tell you a little bit about my past. When I was in 3rd grade, I was so shy that I never spoke to anybody, and I realized that it had been a long time since anybody had spoken to me, so I decided I was going to keep track of how long it had been since I had spoken to anyone or anyone had spoken to me. And I kept track for 3 months and realized that I had gone 3 months at school with nobody speaking to me and me not speaking to anybody, and thinking in my little 3rd grade heart that that was a long time. That was a long time to not be spoken to. So that's how shy I was, but I didn't want that to define who I was, and I think being shy helped me to overcome some challenges and know that I can do hard things. So I've had what some people say are a lot of hard things in my life, but I see them as being blessings. And so I'm just going to go through a list of a few things, and then we'll talk about how we deal with hard things and how we can make life a little bit easier. So, let's see. Let's start with when I was pregnant with my 3rd baby. I was 25 years old, and I went a whole day without feeling the baby move. I was concerned, went to the doctor. I'm going to try to keep this short and sweet, but was told that my baby might not survive. He was under stress. So I had to labor completely motionless, because if I moved, his heart rate stopped or dropped, and I wasn't able to have any medication because I felt like that would also cause his heart to stop beating. So I wasn't able to have any medication. I had to labor the entire time without any help and completely motionless on my side. I was able to give birth to my son, and the doctors whisked him off, and I went 12 hours without seeing my baby, and I didn't know why, but they wouldn't let me see my baby, and they kept coming up with excuses. And then that night, they finally brought my baby in with the doctor, and the doctor came in, and he was in tears, and I was afraid that my baby had passed away. But the doctor told me something that I never thought that I would hear, and that was that my child had Down syndrome. At the time, that was very devastating news, but I was thankful that my baby was alive. And I was told by the doctor that because I was young, I should put my baby in a home and forget about him. And this was something that I refused to do, because this is my child, and he was my baby, and I wasn't going to forget about him. I was going to do everything that I could to be the best mom to him that I could be. When I called my dad and I told him through tears that he had a grandson that had Down syndrome, my dad's response surprised me, because he said, "Laura, that's nothing to cry about." He said, "That's a real blessing." And now, 25 years later, I can see that that is a blessing. To have a child with Down syndrome come into our family has strengthened and blessed us in ways that I never imagined. I'm going to go down through a few other things that are hard, just to say life is hard. So sometimes it's harder to see our children go through things than ourselves. So some of my children, some of the things that they have been through, one of my sons had pencil lead stabbed into his back again and again because he refused to let the children behind him cheat off his paper when he was in junior high. He had his locker slammed on his fingers because he would not do other children's homework assignments for them. And those were hard things to have to teach him how to deal with, living with his life with honor and being able to endure the unkindness of the other children at his school. But he has grown into a great man who lives his life with honor. And so some other things that have happened is, I was told when one of my sons he was 9 months old, that he would probably never walk. I had a daughter that had a ruptured appendix who the infection was so bad that the doctors didn't know if they would be able to save her. And she, one night, was fervently praying to die because she was in so much pain. And I was fervently praying that her life would be spared. Hard is having children run away from your child at the playground and not want to play with them. Hard is having a child where every other child in the class gets an invitation to a birthday party, but they don't. And year after year, that child is never invited to a birthday party, lives their whole life in having one invitation to a birthday party, never invited to a friend's house, never invited to play. Had people refuse to interact with them. When they say hi, people will walk away. Seeing this child become unable to communicate and losing that child to the world of autism. Is difficult. Losing a brother unexpectedly at the age of 45 is hard. Taking a child trick-or-treating and having people leave that are standing in line in front of you because they don't want their child interacting with your child. Seeing adults refuse to give your child candy because of the way that they're behaving, which is just wanting to love and touch their hair and speak to the babies. And having to take your child kicking and screaming from an activity because they are filled with so much love and they can't stop hugging and wanting to interact with other children. But people don't understand and that's hard. Being screamed at from your children that you are not their mother because your child has joined your family through adoption. Seeing your children hurt because they can't understand why their birth mother didn't want them. Being told that your daughter is evil and finding out that she was taken twice to be killed. Simply because she has Down syndrome. Having to leave your daughter twice when you're trying to adopt her and not knowing if she will still be alive when you come back. Seeing children who are starving to death, and seeing children and knowing that there are children that are being killed simply because they were born with a special need, and hard is not being able to bring them all home. And hard is trying to find people who care and are willing to help these children. Life is hard. But at the same time, it is such a joy having 9 children. 4 of those children with special needs is something I wouldn't trade for anything in this world. I am so thankful for the hard things that I've been able to go through with my children. And I know that as I express gratitude in all things to a loving Heavenly Father, that I am blessed and I am strengthened, and I know that you will be too. We can do hard things. And I know as we work in trying to lighten the loads of those who suffer, that we will be blessed and we will find happiness. And we can be happy even when we have awful, horrible things that we have to go through. We can be happy. And we can find joy. And I want you to know that I love you. Even though I probably don't know you. And I'm going to be embarrassed for whoever watches this because I am not a pretty crier. And I don't like filming myself. But I want to give you strength. And I want you to know that Heavenly Father loves you. And He will strengthen you. And He will lift you through whatever your trials are. That you will be blessed and you will find joy as you reach out and as you help those that are in need and that have harder trials than you do. I know that you can find happiness. And I know it doesn't look that way now with my big red bawling eyes. But we can be happy in spite of our trials. And I invite you to please, if you're looking for someone to help, I need help to save these little children in Africa. The weight is heavy on my shoulders. And it is hard to find people who care. But they need our help. They need you. And I want you to be happy. And I want you to find peace and joy as I have in my life. don't know how to end this. But life is good. Life is good.